Ho ho homo ousius, Epicureans. Yep, that's the most esoteric Christmas joke you'll ever hear, and I thought about wearing my ugly Christmas sweater that had it on it, but you know what? I'm still on crutches. I'm recording this in advance to go change it. It's a pain in the butt. Maybe I'll re-record this, although I guess if you're hearing this, I chose not to. Anyway, this is the Marvel Epic Collection Podcast One-Shot Edition, Holiday Edition. If I've timed this right, if I figured this out right, this should be coming out Christmas Day. I'm your host, Nick Smith, and I'll be joined by Stojr in just a moment. Anyway, we are participating in Kurtis Findlay's Epic Marvel Podcast Reading Club, and this one shot is going to be our brief thoughts on today's issue, which is Marvel Fanfare number 2, To Sacrifice My Soul. We left last issue with Tanya Anderson being threatened by a T-Rex. Lucky for her, her lost love, Karl Lykos, found and rescued her. Well, after returning to Karl's camp and meeting up with his friend Kazar, the camp is then attacked by the de-evolved Angel and Spider-Man, who succeed in capturing Tanya, who is then subjected to the de-evolution ray herself and turned into a Neanderthal, or a Neanderthal, however you want to pronounce it. I don't think it matters. Now, even though Neanderthals are a separate branch of humanity, and she wouldn't technically de-evolve to that if this is actually de-evolving, anyway, it doesn't really matter. I can forgive the misunderstandings of our creators back in the 80s. We won't worry about it. Anyway, Kazar and Karl Lykos show up to rescue Tanya. They end up breaking the evolution machine in the process and thus condemning everyone to their de-evolved state, except Lykos uses his energy siphoning powers to somehow reverse the effects of the machine and convert everyone back to normal, except for himself, who becomes Sauron, the pterodactyl man. Alright, well, we wrap up with Peter and the Angel returning to the mainland to get medical treatment, and Tanya staying in the Savage Land with Kazar to help find and hopefully cure Sauron. Now, this was good fun if you don't think too much about it. By that I mean, I don't really understand how Lykos' powers can revert the Angel or Spider-Man back to normal, but whatever. He finds a way around the conundrum of breaking the machine, and we get Lykos turning back into Sauron, and so that's fun, right? We've got another villain in the mix. Michael Golden's art continues to be gorgeous. The man-spider is creepy. The details are amazing. And I love the effects that he uses to show Spider-Man's thoughts when he's the man-spider. Let me give me a second to see if I can find an example of this in the comic viewer. All right, here we go. I'm not entirely sure what page this is because things are off a little bit. I think this might be page 286. In the 6th panel there, you can see the green background with that creates we get a negative space Spider-Man, essentially, with the webbing all green, the same color as the background, but then the rest of his costume is red, and that's Spider-Man thinking behind the man-spider. Just really interesting effect, really well done there. It gives it this unreal quality, which tells the reader how the human part of Peter Parker is kind of fading away. Again, just really well done. Now, I'm not too convinced by some of the Man-Spider's dialogue. In some spots, it's too coherent when he actually talks. Let me see if I can find an example of this. Yeah, here we go. This is, I think this is page 292, but you can see it there in the... Oh, this was actually kind of a confusing page because I think you had to read it from top to bottom on the left and then top to bottom on the right. You didn't go one way to another. That threw me off a little bit. But you see there the man-spider is speaking, and it's just too coherent for him de-evolving. Let me see if I can actually find this in the actual physical version. 292 is definitely not the right page. This is page 294. Okay. So you can see Spider-Man is thinking so hard to think, takes so much effort, can feel primal urges, lust, getting harder to control, can't hold on much longer. Okay, it makes sense. He's slipping away. He can only kind of say short phrases, but then he speaks and says, "You, Kazar, friend, if no hope, I beg you, kill me." Fine so far. Please, better to die than go on as this obscenity. Is he really going to get that word obscenity out? I don't know why. That felt a little bit too far if he's going barbaric on us. Anyway, I'm not too worried about that. Again, I still don't really know what the motivation of the mutants are. Why are they why are they using this machine to de-evolve people? What are they trying to do? Maybe I missed that in the first issue, but there seemed to be no point to it as far as I could tell, and maybe we will get more in a later issue, because this story will quasi continue after this, although without Michael Golden at the helm. We'll get Dave Cockrum for the next issue. All right, I do have a no prize award for this issue. All right, here we go. Oh no, I might have to redo this. I copied the slide from the previous no prize award that I gave out, but neglected to replace the art. That's okay, I've got the comic viewer, so what I'll do is I will just pull up on the comic viewer the panel I wanted to highlight, and then we will do this anyway. All right, here we go. There. All right, the Chicken Boo Award goes to the Angel for his de-evolved state. I mean, just look at him on page 286 there. He's not a man, I tell you. He's a chicken. A giant chicken. All right, that's the joke. Would have been better if I didn't have to interrupt myself. And there I go, breaking the entire viewer anyway. All right, that's it. Those are my thoughts. Let's pass this on to Stojr and see if maybe he can salvage my goof-ups here. And I'll be back afterwards to wrap it all up.
Marvel Fanfare #2 with an amazing cover by Michael Golden with a mutated Spider-Man, sort of man spider on the cover with some great coloring. Love that page there. Not a lot to say about this issue. I think it's a fun, fun kind of mutated heroes issue. I like the idea here that Spider-Man is able to fight back against the different characters, or against the mutation. You know, he's able to kind of talk through this a little bit, stop himself, and even stop Barbarous at one point. I think that's who it was. I think it's a very plausible return for Sauron. You can see here where, it's not necessarily villainous, but, it's the idea of he saw this as a way to revert Angel and Spider-Man back. I'm not sure if that's really the case until we read further on. But, the way it looks right now is that they did this or he did this to try and help them. And a side effect of that is that Sauron is going to return as he ingests all that superpowered energy as you go through there. I like that we're setting up for the X-Men to come into the next issue. That's all seems to be fun. I like the editorial page. This is it's a fun book. If I was collecting single issues back in '82, I was only 2 years old at that point. But if I was doing that, I might be very interested in this book, especially with the premium quality of it. So, not a lot to say on Christmas Day here, but Marvel Fanfare is a thumbs up. Not the greatest thing in the world, but it's an adequate story for a side book to get people interested in a different art style and different paper quality. So looking forward to the X-Men joining in #3, and really looking forward to getting through this and getting back into the Uncanny issues proper, and into some of the future storylines.
All right, thank you, Stojr, and thank you, the audience, for watching and listening. We'll be back again tomorrow with another one-shot, and you can check us out on YouTube, where we post the episode schedules and currently have a poll for you to choose which Epic collection we will read and review in March. Check that out, and go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you like what we're doing. I put Stojr and my link trees in the description if you ever want to find us on the internet. So thanks again, and we'll catch you next time for another episode that will be just as epic.